All right, this story is raven versus turtle, and it's a pretty wild tracking mystery I'm trying to figure out right now. So I'm literally out on a mountain bike ride at the end of the day. It's middle of June. You can probably see the deer flies and black flies and horse flies, all of them flying around me right now. So I don't want this to take too long. And I see there's a painted turtle right here. Check this out, still alive, totally fine. We're gonna help it out and flip it over. I just wanted to throw the camera on really quick. So I'm gonna pop it over like that. So I'm driving down the trail or cruising down the trail, and it looks like there's a rock over here, but what catches my attention is this hole that's been really freshly dug up all around there. So I come over here and I start investigating and realize that this is a painted turtle that's sitting on its back right now. Absolutely wild. How the heck did it get on its back? I'm looking at what looks like probably digging a hole to lay its eggs. It is middle of June, so it's prime time like that. Right now, this is prime habitat. So there's a lake just back there, and this is a sandy area that's not very well traveled on the edge of it. So really prime habitat, and I've seen turtle nests here before. So when I come over closer to actually investigate what's happening, I look down a bit closer here, and there's raven tracks in here. So classic bird track right there. You know, it's got the one long toe, and then it splits into kind of three going forward. And what tells me it's a raven is just the size of it. It looks like it's probably about 3.5 inches long, a little bit bigger than a crow. So puts us in the raven category here. And what actually happened from there, I have no idea. So the turtle actually came in over here, and I'll show you the tracks. They look really, really rad here. You can see, here, I'm gonna zoom down on this, see if you can see it. But if you look closer at that track trail right there, you'll notice there's the little like tail drag through the middle. And then there's also those really cool little feet on each side of it as it goes up there. And then of course it's created this little trough, which you can see behind me. That's the trough right there. And it actually came over here. It started to dig first, and then it walked all the way over there. So for whatever reason, it started digging, didn't like this spot. And interesting enough, the raven may have actually been harassing it for a while. So there's raven tracks walking all the way over here. And it looks like they were here at the same time. So I come over to this spot, and this is where the turtle's found on its back. This is when the forensic investigation starts here. So how did the turtle get on his back? Did the raven in it actually have a scuffle? Why the heck did the raven even land to begin with? So one thought is, you know, the raven could have maybe thought there were eggs down here. I don't know if that totally makes sense. Because they'll definitely, all kinds of things will come and predate on the eggs afterwards, right? Like foxes and skunks and raccoons and wolves and really anything that can get a hold of it. I'm sure a deer would eat them if they found them or sniff them out. But it was laying the eggs. They're not already laid. So it kind of seems like the raven flew down here while it was here. Now, is it possible that the turtle accidentally flipped itself over on its back first? It certainly is. And then the raven caught that and came down to investigate. But it's really interesting that the raven literally followed the trail from that hole over to this one. And it seems like it's kind of bouncing around the turtle a bunch. And over here, it definitely looks almost like a scuffle. So part of me is wondering, is it possible that the raven flipped the turtle on its back? Maybe it was pecking at it. Now there's no sign of it bleeding or anything here. So I'm a little bit, yeah, looking at the tracks here, I'm a little bit curious kind of just what the actual story is here and what actually happened. If you got a theory, I'd love to hear it. Why don't you share down in the comments? All right, so the turtle saga continues here because I jumped back up on my bike and I just went a little bit further up. And here is a very different story happening here. So check this one out now. So we have a very clear hole dug in the ground here, very different. If you remember the turtle hole that we were looking at a second ago, or the hole beside the flipped upside down turtle, it was quite wide, which looks like the turtle was actually in there scratching, clearing a larger area to actually be able to lay its eggs, and then it would have kicked the dirt back over. Whereas this one here, we actually have soil that's kind of flat the whole way around there. And then just one, you know, that hole is probably 3 inches in diameter across there. So one really clear hole, and then of course the pile kicked up on the side here. So this is clearly something that's come in there and dug out there. And looking at the size of that hole, I'm gonna guess that might have been something like a fox coming in there. Although there is a few species around here that could do something like that. Doesn't look like the raven like in the scenario we were looking at a minute ago. So questions around this, you know, when were these eggs actually laid? If I pick one of these up, that's a really thick piece of shell. Wow, and look at that, that's pretty fresh inside of there. So one question I asked there is like, when were these eggs actually laid? And the other question is, what species of turtle is this? So I can't remember the number off the top of my head, but I believe it's around 8 eggs is the minimum that you'll ever find on a snapping turtle. It might be a little bit more. It's 8, 10, something like that. But as I count these, unless I'm missing some, there appears to be one over there. There's a second one right here. There's a third one in the hole. And then it looks like another 4 or 5 around here. So, and that's, that is a big egg though. Look at the size of that there. So anyways, these are a couple of things that I need to investigate now. So I'm gonna take these back home. I'm gonna measure the egg and I'm gonna look up the size of the egg and see. And it's interesting because we don't know for sure that it's not a snapping turtle at this point, right? Because even though I only found 5 eggs, there could be some other eggs that are buried that weren't got to. Although commonly when I see these dug up, they get all of them. You know, it's worth going through that effort for that good food. So that kind of makes me think it is less than that 8 or 10 eggs there. But I could be missing some. So the next thing I want to do to investigate who this is actually look at the size of the shell and take some measurements and see if I can find any more information there when I get back home. And this is just kind of the tracking process that I go through. So anyways, I would love to hear some of your thoughts in the comments below if you want to throw things down there. If you like this kind of video, then subscribe to the channel and like it. This is my buddy Marley here. We're about to jump back out on our bike ride again here. And also, you know, if deepening your connection to the land, increasing your natural awareness, your tracking skills, and even your self-reliance, your ability to be adaptable in these kind of crazy and uncertain times, if those are topics that are of interest to you, you may want to go over to my website, chrisoutdoors.ca, and check out some of the other offerings, trainings, courses, and such that I have over there. Okay, everybody, I'm going to get back on my bike and go for a cruise.